10, we're going to continue talking about westward expansion and farming. I know you love the lighting and everything.
It's amazing.
No interruption of kittens.
It's great.
All right,
I'm
perfect.
in school.
So, now that farmers are now moving out west, whether the Homestead Act that winds up getting them out there or the Oklahoma land rush is that now you're out there, what's next? Now, I'm sure, a part of that dream was to hopefully have a farm look like this, which I get that. It's lush, land is fertile, it's beautiful.
Yeah, green,
sky.
fertile, that's, it's everything you dreamed of
Pretty much.
as a farmer.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. And if you look in here, since you're talking about, and we're going to get into the school year with farms that are doing well and farms that are not doing well, I would probably say the brightness of this picture making you feel all warm.
Especially on a
and-
gray, rainy day
Right.
right now.
when we're getting into that, it's like, here you have, a very, very bright picture. The farm is doing well. I do get a sense that they are prospering. Now, as we move forward, we're probably not going to see that. So it's a good thing that we're starting off with the good.
Yeah, this is the end result.
This is the end
of
result.
100 years of hard work by these farmers
Right.
and their descendants. Because when the original farmers get to the Great Plains,
Yeah.
it doesn't look like this.
It does not.
It looks like this. Miles upon miles upon miles of nothing. Of brown, dead grass that's been burned out by the sun. In my classroom I get into, well, why? Think for thousands of years before the quote-unquote white man showed up, this was Native American territory. And it wasn't just Native American territory, who else was living out there?
Buffalo.
The buffalo. And
Let me plug this in.
for thousands of years,
We don't even need to edit.
for
that.
thousands of years, the buffalo have been roaming the Great Plains, have been grazing on the Great Plains. Your average buffalo, I'd say, is anywhere between 700 and 1,000 pounds. A buffalo herd has anywhere between 700 and 1,000 buffalo in it.
So all of
Yeah,
that
trampling,
going over,
exactly.
eating of the grass, the overgrazing, and if you even look here, just starting with this picture, the one thing I don't see in this picture compared to the other one is there's no green in here. This
None.
does not look
None.
lush. It does not look fertile.
But like nothing. I mean, maybe that's a tree. I'm not exactly sure.
Maybe.
But there are some trees in the Great Plains, not a lot, and that's really important as we move forward because wood being scarce as a resource. The Native Americans, as they adapted to their environment, took the scarcity of trees, cut those long poles, took the buffalo hides, and made themselves teepees.
Yep.
How the homestead farmers are going to adapt to the environment is also innovative.
Yeah.
You would definitely want to say. But that paints the picture so we can understand what the homestead farmer is arriving to.
We've gone from bright, and we're going to move in right into gray. So here's just one photograph just to kind of start this off and we'll look at some photographs to give you an idea of what was going on. And the great thing is that we have photographs because if we told you, or there was a sketch or there was a painting of it, it wouldn't be believable. Now, due to the photograph and being a picture is worth 1,000 words, this is actually accurate. So what we do see here, they do have the ability to farm. That much I get.
Yeah. So like the fertile soil, you can tell. Even though it's a black and white picture, you can tell how dark and lush this soil is.
Yeah.
If you know anything about farming, if you have a garden in your backyard, the topsoil that you bring in to farm, it's dark.
Yeah.
It's almost black.
Yes.
And this soil
No.
is some of the most fertile soil in the world when the farmers get there. But why wasn't it lush and green? Because that fertile soil is underneath anywhere between like a 4 to 6 layer
You're talking layers, yeah.
matted down grass and mashed in mud and dirt.
When you're looking at this land, this is just intense heat, mostly flat lands with certain rolling hills or mountains you have there. But again, in order for it to get that black soil fertile, it takes work. It needs, you need to be somebody. You need somebody who's using the So you're using waste. Not waste in terms of chemical waste. For example, your organic things, if you want to
Manure.
develop something like that, you know, banana peels, coffee grinds, whatever the case may be, if you're developing that at home, but you know, that same mentality is going to apply here.
So literally, to get down to that fertilist soil, they had to cut through this like 6-inch, I would almost say brick hard, you know, or you know, I'm sure if you ever dug in the dirt, you know, in areas like
Flat?
yeah, it's hard to get down, and referred to as sod. Not like sod, like where, you know, sod farms today that they come and they roll
Where they
out
make the
carpets of
grass,
grass.
yeah.
No, this was 4 to 6 inch layers of rock hard debris, really, and they had to literally cut through it. And that's what we see these farmers here doing. They're cutting these sods into almost bricks of their own.
Sure.
What could they build with these bricks?
Well, if I just got out there, Homestead Act, you know, I don't have much, and the number one thing that I'm going to need is shelter, without a doubt, and bang.
They lived in dirt.
You're not going to see this on MTV Cribs. If that
No.
TV is, this is not going to be on Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous for you older people. When you're looking at this, this is just.
Just
You know,
dated yourself so big time.
I did, and I don't care. But if we go to more current TV shows, reality shows, I mean, when you're looking at like reality shows where they're looking for a good story where I guess the channel doesn't want to pay a lot, you know, drop somebody in terrain or an environment that's very difficult to survive and try to survive. And we will film you, whether it's like, you know, for example, Cold Rush, Bear Grylls, those
Man versus Wild,
Man versus
Naked
Wild,
and Afraid.
you know, these people who are
Yeah.
trying to survive in Alaska. You know, it's like you versus the environment. Let's watch. That's entertaining to us in 2020. That was survival to them. So when you're looking at tough areas where it is to survive, the plains is going to be one of them during this time. You're not going to have a reality show where they're going to dump myself and Mr. Kogan in the middle of Long Island and go, okay, survive. This is not a harsh environment to live in when you have a beach north or south. But when you're looking here at how, you know, we take environments. TV takes very, very difficult environments to survive in and makes it a reality show. Well, this is why they know, because people had tried to survive in these areas, and you know, they didn't have a lot of success. So you know, this house, I mean, this looks like a fort I built when I was a kid.
Yeah, you know, for us it would have been like made out of snow.
Right.
They're literally making it out of the dirt. They're taking the one available natural resource to them and making homes called sod homes. You know, these gigantic mounds of dirt, and like they would pile up these bricks. You can see as the years went on, they got, you know, more accustomed to these homes.
Sure.
You know, and this doesn't look like a bad shelter to live in.
It's really not that bad. I mean,
You know,
through trial and error, they
Yeah.
kind of figured it out. I'm sure you applied water or whatever to have a very, very thick
Yeah.
wall or something to that effect.
The little bit of wood that they had would be used for window frames, would be used for doors. When you go inside of these homes, I know we have some pictures of it inside of these homes, but like literally, you're living inside of a dirt home. Now, worms,
Oh yeah.
crickets,
Yes.
ants.
Yes.
I mean, this is not, as we said before, the lifestyle of the rich and famous.
Now, if you're bringing up crickets, worms, spiders, all that kind of stuff, you know, my wife sees a spider on the ceiling and it's freak out. I have to go and get a little tissue and then, you know, imagine having there's one right now, right near your plate, and you just flick it away just like it's every day.
I mean, the luxuries of modern life, but here you can really see, wow, these sod bricks that were cut out and used, you know, and they populated this home with their possessions that they brought with them. You know, that we do have a little wood burning stove over here in the corner, pots and pans.
I mean, when you look at appliances today, it's you know, if we wanted to heat something up, microwave, 2 minutes, done, right? You know, here it was a process.
Mhm.
Everything was a process, whether it was washing clothes, making food, starting a fire, and if you look here, this gives you an idea. You know, you're not talking about, you know, your dishwashers of today or your microwaves or, you know, oh my God, I'm coffee had to be really, even coffee, you know, something that I love and do not take for granted. I mean, you're talking about a process here with just about everything. And, you know, when you look at these processes that they went through, I mean, we have a home appliance right now that'll cut that time down to seconds, if not a minute.
You know, and like my students had like a tough time grasping this concept, but what would usually happen is Dad would go out first. Dad would hop on the Transcontinental Railroad.
You'd scout it out.
He would go out there, he would purchase the land, or actually it wasn't even purchase, he would homestead the land.
Right.
He'd get there, he would build this sod house from scratch. If he had an older son, maybe the older son would help him. They would get back on the Transcontinental Railroad, head back home, and grab the rest of the family, be like, all right, let's go. And then Mom, all the kids, I mean, they say Dad, probably the oldest daughter, three other kids here, maybe the wife here.
And speaking of moms, before I go back here, and I hate, I don't mean to speak about moms and women as we're bringing up the kitchen and household appliances. It was the time period, it's not me, but the women during this particular time period, they were tough. Because the other thing you have to remember is this, is that, let me see if I can find something better. They're for the most part, if you look, there's no built up towns or cities. So, God forbid you got hurt, you needed to go to a doctor or a hospital, chances are, it was the women of the house who acquired first aid skills over time. When you're talking about soap, the ones that we buy from the store, you can actually make soap, and they were making soap in home as well. Everything that you can think of that you would need today to survive, they had to make it.
Self-sufficient.
Very, very
Is
self-sufficient.
the word.
Probably where you get the term, walk it off.
Yeah.
I fell off the horse, my leg kind of hurts. Was there a bone sticking out of it? No. Well, cowboy up, man up, suck it up.
Exactly. We look at this guy.
Yeah.
This guy's on a team of horses. He's pulling behind him a plow. That plow seen here, digs through the dirt, helps rip
Because
up
as
that
you were
sod.
mentioning before, you had to get down deep into it.
Turn over the sod. And there's a great quote throughout history said, necessity is the mother of all inventions.
Yep, absolutely.
What we see here, this is something called the steel plow. Steel, one of the strongest types of metal there is. Before the steel plows, this part of the plow was either made out of wood or made out of like copper sometimes, which is not a very strong metal.
No.
And literally, this sod grass, this matted down grass was so strong,
Just eat it up.
it would break the wooden plow, the copper plows, and whatnot. So, somebody decides, all right, we're gonna have to make a stronger plow so our farmers out west can overturn the soil and cultivate it, make it productive. Steel plow, one of the major innovations of westward expansion.
absolutely.
Because it basically takes from the Mississippi River to the Rocky Mountains and makes it fertile.
What's cool about farmers that we can maybe connect to a previous unit when we were talking about cow hands and then we were talking about dangerous jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And you're looking at a lot of those dangerous jobs, even today or then, a lot of these dangerous jobs, they don't, you're not going to be exactly driving a Ferrari working a dangerous job, like if you're a city firefighter. Maybe later on in life if you're good with your money, but traditionally speaking, these are jobs where you're not rich. But the reason why people do it is that there's a love for the job, there's a camaraderie, it's tradition. When you're looking at farmers, and you're going, why would you do this? Why would you continue to do this? And of course, certain needs that we just kind of skirted over and sort of like started to address, you have a family. But if you're looking at, these families, where did the father learn about farming? Probably his father. And this is something that's passed down from one generation to the next. And I'm sure there's farms out there, where, if you talk to a farmer, well, how did you get this property? Tell me something about it. Well, my great-great-great-great-grandparents were, were homesteaders. They came out here, and then when they passed, they left the property to their children, who then left it to their children,
The farms that are out there in the
Yeah.
Midwest today, in the Great Plains, were originally given away under the Homestead Act. I remember reading somewhere that 25% of all the land in the country today was given away under the Homestead Act.
There's a lot of pride that goes along with like doing these particular jobs.
And it brings up the question of like, how hard was their life before this? If these were immigrants coming over from Europe,
Oh gosh.
if these were people living in poverty in the cities,
Right.
ownership of land
This is the American dream right here.
is the ultimate
Yeah.
freedom.
It is.
And
It's
like,
what you want.
yes, it's your land. Now, if it means you have to bust your back every single second of every single day to put food on the table for your family, that's what it is. At least you're not working for somebody.
And even with all the innovations that you're bringing up, I mean, I live out near farms. I'm up really early, but when it's dark.
He needs a passport to get to work.
Yeah. So, and when I'm up when I'm getting up at work and I'm going early in the morning to get some exercise, I'm passing through farmers who are waking up and they're getting ready to go. And you're talking about 4:30. And then, when I'm driving home or I'm going around later at night, they're working until sundown.
Covered in dirt.
Covered in dirt.
Yeah.
Love it. This is life.
Yep.
This is
As I was saying, like, it's the ultimate freedom. You're indebted to nobody.
Yeah.
No one's your boss. Everything you grow is your own. Now, at first, maybe it's just enough to put food on your table.
Sure.
But after a while, when we end up looking like that original, end up looking like this,
Yeah.
now you're making a surplus, now you're selling your crops, boom, you made a profit.
It's hard work. I don't know if I could cut out for farming.
No way.
No.
I have a little 10 by 10 garden in my backyard, and I spend like an hour out there every day pulling the weeds,
Just
watering it, 10 by 10. And I'm like dripping in sweat in like the July humid days, and just
taking breaks.
yeah, exactly. It's like, hey, I got a cucumber.
Thanks for watching.